No one ever says no, and we move to the next bill.
The motion is the moved and seconded that House Bill 1616 be placed on the second reading floor calendar. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. The motion carries.
There is kind of an unspoken understanding, I think, in rules that while Republicans may object to a bill that the Democrats pull and vice versa with Republican bills, that objection plays itself out in a floor debate, not in a debate in rules. We don't debate the substance of bills in rules. At least that has not happened since I've been Speaker.
It's all televised, it's all open. In fact, there's quite a bit of pride in the Senate for having opened up the deliberations of the Rules Committee for the world to see.
Currently, in 2025, the House Rules Committee has 24 total members, 15 Democrats and 9 Republicans. In the Senate Rules Committee, there are 17 total members, 11 Democrats and 6 Republicans.
We try to have a diversity of members from different committees there. We have an informal rule that committee chairs cannot sit on the Rules Committee because they have a lot of power in their committee to decide what bills move and what bills don't move. So it tends to be more line members, but coming from a diverse group of committees. All the members of the leadership team are on rules. We don't ever have a Rules Committee meeting unless there are enough Republican bills for every Republican member to have at least one bill that they pull, and every Democratic member to have at least one bill that they pull.
Bills do die in the Rules Committee, and they die there for a variety of reasons. One reason may be that the counterpart bill from the other chamber is already farther along in the process. It may be that the contents of that bill were absorbed in another bill. It may be that it just doesn't have the votes. It could be any of a variety of reasons for it to meet its untimely death in the Rules Committee meeting.
The way you get your bill chosen to be pulled from the Rules Committee is if you identify a Rules Committee member who believes your bill is ready to go to the floor. What generally happens if a member has a bill that's moved into the Rules Committee, then you become, as a member, you become a lobbyist for your bill, right? You're lobbying to you're talking to Rules Committee members and saying, would you prioritize my bill as the first bill you pull?
The best way to describe the change in the Rules Committee is it simply functions less powerfully than it once did. Again, it used to be a real stringent gatekeeper, and a lot of measures wouldn't get through it. It's just not so much the case anymore. Gatekeeping now can happen at the actual committee level, the regular policy committees or the fiscal committees, but it also can happen actually on the floor. And what I mean by that is just because a bill gets out of the Rules Committee doesn't mean it gets taken up on the floor for any of a variety of reasons.
Every process we have in the legislature after you file a bill is about narrowing and perfecting the bill. So the committee hearings are intended to get both public input and the input from members to amend the bill, make it better, and improve it along the way. My job is to make sure that we're moving policy that benefits the people of the state of Washington forward. And we do that through policy bills, budgets, and nearly everything we do is focused on just that, helping the people of the state of Washington.
Here we are at Hurricane Ridge in the heart of the Olympic Mountains. What an incredible place, and now in the core of the entire park is the Daniel J. Evans Wilderness Area. It's a delight and a wonderful place to visit. When I was a kid from Bainbridge Island, I was the leader in our ski club. Bainbridge Island was almost all strawberries in those days, and So our symbol was the strawberry on skis. We came here and skied nearly every weekend. This is a tremendous location, Olympic National Park, Hurricane Ridge. It's a beautiful place and certainly one of my favorite places.
We need to get turned up a little more. Well, I'm not the one to turn up. Can we get more volume, please? More volume. There we go. There we go. Okay, we're going to get started in about 5 minutes. We got a lot of people at the registration checking in. I just want them to be able to get in and get a seat. So just enjoy the music, and we'll get started real shortly. Thank you for being here.
Law. The larger portion of the law are all kinds of things dealing with speed limits for cars, the curriculum in your schools, the content of gasoline at the pump. There can be how you process wheat. All these kind of things can be laws. So probably almost anything that you can think of topic-wise, there is a code on it, a series of laws. And all together we collect those and we call them the Revised Code of Washington. Why do we pick that name? I don't know. I didn't pick it. They picked it a long time ago. We all just live with it. The Revised Code of Washington is where we put all of these laws. And if you want to change something in it, good news. I know how to do it, and you're about to too. The way you do it is with a bill. And a bill is just a wannabe law. It's a document that wants to become law. It wants to become law so bad. Will it? I don't know. Stay tuned. We'll see. And how it starts is with a good idea. You ever had a good idea? I've had a couple of them. I haven't had many, but I've had a couple of them. If you ever have a good idea and you're a legislator, or if you have a good idea and you can talk to a legislator and get them to introduce it, they can write it up as a bill. And what it looks like a law. It's not a law yet, but it looks like one. And the reason it looks like one is so that people can look at it and see, this is the law now, and this is the change you're proposing. Is that a good idea? Is that something we want? If it is, they vote it into law. If not, well, better luck next year. Try again. That's what a bill is, a wannabe law. Keep that in mind. And by far, I don't have the numbers. We could pull them up. By far, though, take my word, many more bills are introduced than ever become law.
Here in the International District of Seattle sits the historic Panama Hotel. The hotel was built in the early 1900s. This spot was quickly a focal point for the Japanese community because it had baths, communal baths like they had had in Japan.
This program to bring you a special news bulletin. The Japanese have attacked Pearl Harbor, Hawaii by air, President Roosevelt has just announced.
On December 7th, 1941, the Japanese surprise attacked Pearl Harbor and devastated most of our fleet. The president and the entire Congress was in total disarray as to what to do next.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan.
One of the things the people were demanding was removal of all Japanese. Our Japanese friends only had 1 week's warning. They had terrible problems figuring out, in 1 week, what am I going to do? What type of clothes should I take? What should I carry? Where's the family dog going to go? They had no idea. Many chose to store extra items they couldn't take here at Panama Hotel. They had to take this stuff down the stairs, leave it. They would get on that train and left their suitcases behind. Most of those folks never came back. They never saw their stuff again, never cared to. They moved on to new lives and a new future. The suitcases here remain today. Seeing these suitcases brings back so many thoughts and so many questions. What's in those suitcases? Just clothes they didn't think they'd need, or is it toys, or what might it be? Today, the restored hotel is filled with original Japanese artwork, some of the original furniture that was there. It's fully restored as close as the owner can find. And it's a beautiful place to stay today. It's also a place where you can see these items on display. We are very lucky to have this segment of history of the Japanese internment. This tells a big part of the story. This truly is one of the most historical places in our entire state, and it's certainly one of my favorite places.
Hello, folks. We're going to get started. I don't want to punish those who got here on time, so we're going to get started and let everybody else kind of trickle in as we go through this. So, happy Juneteenth. You know? All right. Well, hey, I'm glad that people participated and clapped and all that because, you know, this is a celebration and I want everybody to be participants in this whole celebration today. So my name's Andre Simpson and I am the real OG of the History and Activities Subcommittee. You know? But I just wanted to state for the record, these two individuals standing here next to me are about to take Build and Build events and our History and Activities Subcommittee to a whole new level. And because of that and all their dedication to Build, we have a little something for them.
What? This wasn't in the script. I know. Right, it wasn't. Okay. Saul, in recognition of his generous contribution of time, energy, and dedication as co-lead of Build's History and Activities Subcommittee, Saul has demonstrated exceptional leadership in facilitating weekly H&A meetings and ensuring a smooth and effective event planning process. His efforts have been instrumental in establishing clear expectations for H&A members, strengthening engagement, and enhancing overall experience for attendees at Build's events. Saul's unwavering commitment has elevated both the History and Activities Subcommittee and Build as a whole.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Naomi, in recognition of her generous contribution of time, energy, and dedication as co-lead of Build's History and Activities Subcommittee, Naomi has demonstrated exceptional leadership in facilitating weekly H&A meetings and ensuring a smooth and effective event planning process. She has played a vital role in bringing influential presenters and vendors to the Build platform, helping to create meaningful and engaging events for the community. Naomi's steadfast commitment and unmistakable leadership have elevated both Build events and the History and Activities Subcommittee. Thank you both.
Put me in between the women. Thank you. All right. Well, now we'll get back to business. But I thought it was important to, we always want to give our individuals their flowers for the things and dedication they have. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the 2026 Juneteenth celebration for Washington State. Right here in this historic Tumwater, Washington. You'll find out a little later why I say historic. But isn't this a beautiful building? Yeah. All right. Most Americans celebrate the 4th of July as America's Independence Day, but millions of African Americans recognize a second Independence Day, Juneteenth, you know, which marks the day when slave owners in Texas were forced by government troops to free the remaining black people that were enslaved. And we as a people have been celebrating that ever since then, right? Ever since that historic day of June 19th, 1865, we have been celebrating Jubilee Day, Freedom Day, Emancipation Day, Juneteenth. So I applaud you for all being here and help us celebrate Juneteenth. So earlier I said this is going to be something that I want the audience to participate in, right? So right now what we're going to do, we're going to have a little audience participation. I'm going to ask you to raise your hand, and then when someone comes around with a mic, in 10 words or less, tell us what Juneteenth means to you, or what you think of when you hear the word Juneteenth. Okay? So raise your hand. Come on, this is participation time. Need some hands raised so people can so we can hear what you think. Now, no, I don't want everybody to just keep your hands down. Come on now. That's not good. Okay, thank you.
When I think of Juneteenth, I think of celebrating us and our culture.
Okay, thank you.
Political proclamations only get us so far, and sometimes you got to get in people's faces.
All right. We got one over here.
I like what he just said. So for me, it's that the fight continues. We had physical freedom, but we still have some struggles that we got to deal with.
All right. We got a lot of people from this side of the room. Anybody over here? Come on now. There's got to be at least one person on this side of the room.
I just remember all the stories handed down from great aunts, uncles, grandparents, and my mother and father.
Okay. Well, we got time for about two or three more. We got a lady over here. Oh, bro, I should have brought track shoes for you. I'm sorry.
I think reminding people about history, keep reminding people about history, and continue working on.
Okay.
I think for me, what it represents is just understanding that although we struggle, everything is temporary. So keep on keeping on, folks.
That's what I'm talking about. You got some people back here?
For me, it's to remember your history and not forget about it and teach others about their history. So I got a 5-year-old, and I need to teach him why he's an African American, because his dad's from West Africa, so he needs to understand the reason why we call ourselves what we call ourselves, the reason why Juneteenth is what it is, and the explanation of how he came to be and where we came from. So what shoulders he's walking on is basically what I'm trying to say.
All right. Got one over here.
Good afternoon, everyone. Please forgive me, I just put some candy in my mouth, but I had to say something. What Juneteenth means to me is empowerment. Look at us. We're here on this day celebrating Juneteenth. We couldn't have done that a long time ago, right? We wouldn't have been able to do that. We have Juneteenth as a holiday, right?
Right.
So we as a people have become empowered. So to me, that's what Juneteenth means, empowerment. Thank you.
I think on that note, is there another? I think on that note, that's a good note to stop on. So we'll move forward. I appreciate your participation, folks.
All right. So thank you for everybody's reflections. That was a great way to kick us off. As you guys all heard, my name is Naomi Page. I'm one of the two co-leads for the History and Activities Subcommittee for BUILD. And I just want to thank everybody for coming, and we're glad to have you in person and virtually for us joining on TVW. Today's event is hosted by BUILD, Blacks United in Leadership and Diversity. BUILD is a business resource group created for Black Washington State employees and our allies. BUILD has a 4-part mission. Number 1, we work hard to improve the experiences of Black state employees. Number 2, we strive to increase Black representation in leadership positions. Number 3, we amplify the voice of the Black perspective in Washington State. And most importantly, number 4, we build each other up every step of the way. So with that being said, I'm going to go off script here and declare an unofficial 5th part of our mission, which is keeping each other sharp, because now it's pop quiz time. So let's have a little Black history trivia. So I'll take the first question. So who was the Black pioneer who founded Tumwater? Oh, your hand raised quick. Yep, George Bush. There you go. Awesome.
I'm number 2, right?
Yep.
All right. Ready for question 2? All right. So, what year did Washington become a state? Correct.
So, who was the first black mayor elected in Washington State? Come on, y'all. Nope. Good answer, but no, that's not right. First black mayor. I see you pulling out your phones and Googling. Huh? Come on. Who's got the quickest fingers? Come on now.
Oh, true.
All right. James Craven. William Craven. Excuse me.
All right, y'all ready for the fourth one? How many African American mayors have been elected to office in Washington State as of today? Nope, not 14.
Anybody know?
Anybody? If it makes you feel any better, I didn't know either. I have the cheat sheet, so. The correct answer is 8. So there was, 8. Now let's give a round of applause for that. 8? So the first one was William Craven Roslin in 1975. Then we had James Chase in Spokane of 1981. We have Norm Rice in Seattle, 1989. Harold Moss, Tacoma, 1994. Marilyn Strickland, Tacoma, 2010. Bruce Harold, Seattle, 2017. Victoria Woodards, Tacoma, 2017. And Dante Payne, Olympia, 2023.
All right, now we're on to question 5. Name the cities in Washington that have elected an African American mayor.
This is a giveaway,
I heard like
y'all.
3.
This is a giveaway.
I heard 3 so far.
Seattle, Tacoma, Olympia, Seattle, Roslyn.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. Okay. And the last question for this round is, when was the official launch and kickoff meeting for this bill, BRG? 2019 is the right. What you remember? You remember what month? Ooh, you got 2. What you know? Can you get the date? What date was it? You didn't got the year. You got the month. What's the date? Okay, October 19th, 2019. Very good. Very good. Now let's switch directions. We're going to have a few little logistics that we want to bring to your attention. At check-in today, you should have received a meal, food ticket and a dessert ticket. You can use those tickets to claim your refreshments through the back door here, right under the exit sign. Today's refreshments were provided by 3 African American caterers. There is Time Well Spent, Chef Chantel Jackson. Lizzie Lou's 2, Chef Vanessa Victorian. And Gardens Gourmet, Chef Naisha Cooper and her husband Dion. Thank you. Today's celebration is the first time that either one of these caterers have been at Build events, so we need to give them all a big round of applause.
Well, hello. I'm Solomon Askinoff, but I go by Soul. co-lead of History and Activities Subcommittee, and I also want to welcome and thank each one of you for joining us today for this Juneteenth celebration. I really enjoy serving as the co-lead of History and Activities Subcommittee because our committee is dedicated to correcting the record and affirming the inspirational narrative of historical Black excellence. Now for a few more logistics. The caterers are located in the room outside of the back of the wall, and there's a door to access that area. Please feel free to take your tickets and claim your food during our networking hour, and there are several vegetarian dishes being offered. Please check out the informational table with information regarding BRG's Commission on African American Affairs, as well as other community resources. We're delighted to have a free 360 photo booth. If you've never taken a 360 photo, you don't want to miss out on the opportunity. The booth will be in operation during the entirety of the celebration until 4:30. And they're located at the end of the main corridor in the conference room S130. Also, if you're wondering where the nearest restrooms are located, just go out like you're going to the rotunda. Make a left before you get to the rotunda. It's right there on the left. Just follow the signage. Now, let me give you a brief overview of today's lineup before we have our networking, intermission, and refreshments. First, we'll have you join us in singing of the Black National Anthem. Followed by a short video prepared by Governor Bob Ferguson. Next, the reading of the 2026 Juneteenth Proclamation by BUILD's executive sponsor, Marcus Gasper, the Director of Washington State Department of Licensing. Then, BUILD's members and community aunties representative, L. Denise Randall, will introduce the 2026 Miss Juneteenth. Before we stand to sing the Black National Anthem, I'm going to hand it over to Neil.
All right. Thank you, Sol. So now it's time for all of us to lift our voices by singing the Black National Anthem. This song was written on February 12, 1900, at a time when African Americans were searching for an identity of their own. And here we stand today, 126 years later. Can I get an amen? All right. So, in your programs, it states that the anthem will be led by Breonna Davison. Unfortunately, Breonna couldn't be with us today as there was a death in her family. Yeah, Breonna and her husband are in Alabama right now as I speak. So we're sending our thoughts and prayers and condolences to Breonna and her family during this time. But on a lighter note, with that being said, I'm going to create an unofficial sixth part of our mission, which is we always find a way, especially leaning onto others in our networks that we continue to build. So we are blessed to have a very capable couple here in Breonna's absence. Wife and husband, Karina and Ryan Kirkland, have been performing and creating music for decades. When they heard about Breonna's situation, they, without hesitation, volunteered to fill in for Breonna at today's celebration. Let's give them a hand for that.
So at this time, if everyone would stand, and as we join Karina in singing the Black National Anthem, you can find the words in your program if you're not familiar with the words.
I do need the words, so because it's 3 verses long. Yes. I mean, I remember singing this. I learned this as a child and had to have this explained to me as to why there was a Black national anthem in addition to the national anthem. And I had to explain this to my child as well, which I take great pride in the fact that we do have a Black national anthem. It sets things apart, and then it also acknowledges us as a people. So I hope that you'll enjoy and join in with me as I sing. Amen. liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the prison has brought us. Now facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Now let us march on till victory is won. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days we hope unborn had died, hit with a steady beat. Have not our weary feet come to a place for which our fathers sighed? Ooh, we have come over the way with the tears that has washed us. See, we have come treading our path that the blood of the slaughtered, yes, out of the gloomy past till now we stand at last where the white gleam of our bright star is cast. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, though who has brought us this far on the way, thou hast thy might lead us into the light and keep us forever in the path. Oh God, we pray. So least our faith straight from the places, our God, where we made thee. Oh, laced our hearts drunk with the wine of the world, we forgot thee. Shadow beneath the light, may we forever, forever stand true to our God, true to our native land. Hallelujah! Glory!
Hi everybody, it's Governor Bob Ferguson, and I wanted to welcome all of you to the Build Juneteenth celebration. And I just appreciate all the work that's gone in to organize this really wonderful event. At the outset, I'm going to say that I think your keynote speaker today is going to be director of the Office of Equity, Megan Matthews. And when I signed an executive order creating an immigration subcabinet to promote coordination of different state agencies on issues related to immigration, which is very important these days, I decided that the Office of Equity and Megan should lead that work. So we really appreciate Megan and her leadership in so many areas. Now, Juneteenth, as you all know, of course, is a day to reflect on a really dark period in our country's history. So to me, it's also part commemoration and part looking forward with a purpose. And that's why the theme of this event resonates with me. Juneteenth brings balance to America's celebration of freedom. And as we think about Juneteenth and celebrate African American culture and achievements, we of course must keep our eyes on ensuring the future is better and brighter for all of us. And I know that we have some challenges right now across our country on a whole range of issues, and to me that just means more than ever we need to lean into our core values like diversity, like equity, and inclusion. So that's my commitment to you as governor, and all of the work that you do makes my job that much easier. I'm proud to be governor of a state that has wonderful folks like all of you working in this way, and I hope you have a really wonderful gathering as well. Thank you so much.
Lift every voice and sing. I am feeling good. I hope you are too. I just wish I could sing. Well, good afternoon and happy Juneteenth, a celebration of freedom. It's good to see all of your beautiful faces in this room today as we come together to honor those whose shoulders we stand on and who have paved the way for us to be in this room today. I'm Marcus Glasper, Bill's executive sponsor, and I'm proud to say that I have been the executive sponsor since October 19th, 2019, the longest serving executive sponsor. I'm honored to read the Juneteenth proclamation on behalf of Governor Ferguson. So whereas on January 1st, 1863, Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, ending chattel slavery in the United States of America. And whereas slavery persisted in some more than 200 years in opposition until June 18, 1865, when federal troops entered the state of Texas and freed the last 250,000 slaves held in bondage. And whereas a new reality meant living as free persons for the first time, and families sought to reunite with loved ones after decades of forceful separation. And whereas, known also as Freedom Day or Emancipation Day, the term Juneteenth was coined. And whereas Juneteenth celebrations recognize the deep and profound impact of Black people in all aspects of American life and serve as a marker of Black pride and a beacon for global equality, equity, opportunity, and freedom. And whereas in Washington State, Juneteenth, formerly recognized as a day of remembrance, became a legal holiday in 2021. And that same year, the U.S. Congress passed the Juneteenth National Independence Day Act, establishing June 19th as the 12th U.S. public legal holiday. Now, therefore, I, Bob Ferguson, Governor of the State of Washington, do hereby proclaim June 19th, 2026 as Juneteenth in Washington, and I urge all people in our state to become aware of the significance of this celebration on the heritage of our nation and our state. Signed this 12th day of June, 2026, Governor Bob Ferguson.
All right, well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is L. Denise Randall. I work for the WACARES long-term WACARES Fund, and I'm very excited to be here today. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to present Pierce County's Miss Juneteenth 2026 Lyric Divine Alexander. Lyric was crowned the Miss Juneteenth through the Miss Juneteenth Scholarship Program, which is a local nonprofit dedicated to supporting and empowering young people through mentorship, leadership development, and scholarship opportunities. Known for her vibrant spirit, authenticity, and confidence, Lyric captured both the crown and the hearts of those who witnessed her journey. She earned top interview honors and became the first recipient of the Carrie Everett Memorial Talent Award. As she begins her year of service, leadership, and community engagement, we invite you to learn more about the organization Community Aunties and their work at communityaunties.org and by following Community Aunties on Instagram. Please join me in welcoming Pierce County's Miss Juneteenth 2026 Lyric Divine Alexander as she performs her award-winning talent. The stage is yours. Yes, keep it up for Lyric. Good job. Woo! All right, how's everybody feeling so far? Good. We hope you've enjoyed the first part of this program. But don't worry, I have just a couple announcements to make before we break off to our working hour. We're going to start transitioning to take a break where you can hopefully stand up, stretch your legs, network with one another, enjoy the festivities for today's celebration. We're going to put on some music during this time, so feel free to sing and dance, or you can just sit and enjoy whatever works for you. We'll also have some catered refreshments down in the middle room right there. Don't forget your food and dessert tickets. And then we also have the information tables once again in the right door over there in the back. And then lastly, my favorite part, and I just went and checked, the 360 photo booth is ready. So it's just out the doors, down the hall. So get in there. We have two different photo booths. We have the 360 one that spins around and it'll be a video. It'll send directly to your phone. And then we have another one that it's like you'll do three different poses and then it'll put it together in a collage for you. So before we all break off, I'm just going to let you guys know. I know we kind of started a little late, but before we get started for the part 2 of the program, I'm going to give a 15-minute reminder, a 10-minute reminder, a 5-minute reminder, a 2-minute reminder, maybe even a 1-minute reminder. We'll see. So that we can gear up and start part 2. But once again, I can't stress enough, the power of networking is so strong. So whether you're looking for or interested in opportunities at other state agencies that match a skill set or passion of yours, or if you're looking for an advancement opportunity down the road, if you just need a reset in your career, but love state service, or simply just to grow your own professional network outside of your respective agency, and just if you want to meet somebody to learn something new. Let's all lean on each other during this time, especially while we have this much state agency representation in one room. So as state employees, I know sometimes we can get lost or buried
in all the work that we do in our respective agencies. But I seriously encourage you all to make some new connections, grab some contact information from as many people as you can in this room today. I'm going to repeat it again. I encourage you to make connections with people you don't know. Find 3 people you don't know. You know, you're not limited to 3, but just as many people as you can. Grab some contact information. So, all right, so we'll go ahead and break now. Please be back promptly to go at, let's say, 2:30? 2:30 sharp. And be sure to listen for my announcements, too. All right, thank you, everybody.
Does this make sense? Is it implementable? So I believe in working with everyone, because at the end of the day, you have to make sure you're providing the people of Washington what they need to be successful. But you have to make sure it doesn't cost a lot of money, especially this year with our fiscal situation being the way it is. Anything with a big fiscal note is in danger of not passing. And I always make sure that my Republican ranking member is involved in that process, because I truly do believe that when we work together, we get better policy.
Because the chairs of the committees have so much power over which bills are put on the agendas, we talked to Senator Dhingra about how she worked with those in the minority party. We examined a bill going through the 2025 legislative session that is prime sponsored by Republican Senator Phil Fortunato.
Washington is the last Western state to have a complete ban on possession of spring blade knives.
It's really just a cleanup bill to try to bring this into the 21st century and get away from the Hollywood stereotypes.
You know, people need their knives because they're opening boxes, they're going camping. For people with disabilities, many times it's hard to open that knife if you have arthritis. So, you know, having that button to press where the spring blade just kind of pops out is really needed. And so this bill is really about making sure that this knife is no longer considered a dangerous weapon. So it's a good bill, and I'm happy to support it and happy to send it out of the floor. You know, we also have great bipartisan bills when it comes to behavioral health, mental health issues, substance use disorder issues. You know, 95% of the bills that have been passed off the Senate floor in the last 7 years have been bipartisan. It's 95%. That's a really high number.
There are many other factors that go into viability, and understanding whether the government has enough money or interest in implementing the bill is essential.
It's about the idea, how much it's going to cost, who it's going to help, and making sure everyone is on board on implementing it. Because you can write all the great laws that you want, but unless there's implementation, it's just a good novel.
I like working for TVW because of one thing: everyday people just like you and me. Because TVW reminds me that behind every law or policy, there are real everyday people trying to solve real everyday problems. We get to capture those moments, the debates, the questions, the emotions, and show viewers the human side of government that often gets lost in the headlines. As real everyday humans, we lead busy lives, but that doesn't mean we don't care. It's rare to work in an environment where transparency isn't just the talking point, it's the mission. So instead of edited selections, TVW gives you access to the full story, that clarity that allows sound bites to speak for themselves, so that everyday people, just like you and me, can think for ourselves. While civics can feel intimidating, TVW makes it more inclusive. When everyday people can watch and understand the process for themselves, suddenly things click. All of a sudden, civics isn't some far-off concept. It's part of everyday life. And TVW helps bring it back down to earth. People see how decisions form, how debates evolve, and how policy becomes real, bringing human moments into people's homes, making government feel less distant and more relatable.
My name is Neil Kumar, and I'm in 9th grade from Bellevue, Washington. In my research, I learned that tuition costs at schools like the University of Washington and Washington State University can be very different, depending on financial aid, and that the Washington College Grant helps many students, but not always those in the middle income range. Is the legislature working to make sure that middle-income families who do not qualify for large grants can still afford college?
Thank you, Neil. That is a great question. And the short answer is yes. We are working to make sure that higher education in our state is accessible to all. And as you talk about those middle-class families or families that may not qualify for need-based aid, I mean, you're talking about my family as well. My children receive Chapter 35 benefits because of their father's service to this country. But one of the things that we try to do this year in the legislature is expand the ability to access those types of benefits. And that's just one way, thinking of families who may have other ways that they can afford higher education. That's just one way that we're trying to think outside the box and expand those benefits and the timeline in which family members and dependents can use those benefits. But also we're thinking about all of the wraparound services that students need. We're thinking about housing and how in different regions costs to attend college or participate in higher education may vary, and how do we help students to be able to afford to go to college based on where they live. We're also thinking about childcare and other aspects of higher education. And we do recognize that depending on the type of institution, the cost is very different, and that those options are important for students based on the aid that they do have accessible to them. But our goal is to continue to think of solutions. I know that the state superintendent, Chris Rakedahl, has asked, like, why aren't we making the first 2 years of college free for everybody? And I'm like, such a great question. Like, what more can we do to support students who are in the middle, but also students on both sides of the spectrum? We have to think about our economy, and all of us can help to participate in a strong economy by receiving those credentials, by accessing higher education. So much more work that needs to be done, and I'm just committed to making sure that we think about the full spectrum of student need and how we can continue to ensure that higher education in our state is accessible. So thanks for that question. It's a really good challenge, and one that I'm going to continue to step up to the plate to.
Thanks, Neil. That's a very good question. Coming from kind of a middle-income family myself, I've been concerned about that. But what I have learned at the college grants, Washington college grants, are based on family income. So the median family income for, say, a one-person family is only $68,000 for a median income. It goes all the way up to 4 people in a family is $131,000 annual median family income. So if you qualify just below that, then you should be able to qualify for grants and awards. A lot of it depends on the institution itself. Some of these vary. The awards vary depending on the institution. Like you said, WSU, UW, they're very different tuition, so there would be different awards. If you decide to go to an independent college, which is not a state-run university, the cap is lower. We are trying at 50%. What we are trying to do is increase it to 90% of what the regionals, which would be WSU or UW. So that bill is in the works right now, but it does depend on the household income and the median family income of those families. So I really appreciate you bringing that question forward.
History comes and history goes. Historic locations, sometimes they burn down or fall down, or we lose sight of what were Indian encampments, or we bulldozer over some facility we love. And In some ways, that's the case today when I see this incredible tree behind me has fallen. This is the George Bush butternut tree out on Bush Prairie and just south of Puget Sound. Planted maybe 15 years before the Civil War by a man of mixed race who came here because of racial discrimination in Oregon and also in Missouri. Bush was one of our state's first settlers. He helped lead a wagon train west along with Michael T. Simmons in 1845. They settled in the valleys right around where now the state capitol is located. George Bush was a man that all of us can respect and learn some lessons from. He helped those who arrived in our state that were dead broke and needed food for the winter. He became a contributing member of our government formations here. He was involved in the community, and he showed others by his example. One of the things he planted was a butternut tree. Butternuts were a new variety for us. It's an eastern United States tree, but it produced a product, a white walnut, that would last and last and last. And this butternut tree really tells, in some ways, the story of our state as it grew and prospered 176 years, provided seedlings for many other locations around the state. I've had the opportunity to visit Bush Prairie and to come and look at this particular tree when it was standing many, many times. And just like all of us, its days have come to an end. But it's given us a good life and assisted in our history, our heritage, and tells us a little bit about our future as well. Even though the tree's gone, I can see the seedlings of it all around us and all around the state. And they remind me and they make me remember this is one of my very favorite places. The Madison Park area of Seattle is considered the Gold Coast by many. But here amongst the high-rise buildings and luxury condominiums lies a real gem. This is Pioneer Hall, an organization formed more than 100 years ago by the children and grandchildren of our state's earliest settlers. It's quite a location to visit. Come into the hall and you can see artifacts, you can see the films of early pioneer days, ancient paintings, and just a wide variety of programs and opportunities to learn more about the history of our state. When you visit Pioneer Hall, you'll see all kinds of artifacts, household items, books, paintings of early homes and cabins, tools that they used, just an opportunity to learn more about day-to-day life of the first people who occupied this region of the world. Of course, these pioneers were not the first people to live here. It's also about the Native American peoples that lived here for generations before the first Caucasians, Europeans, and Asians arrived. This is Pioneer Hall, a place you can come and visit. It's a blessing for each of us to have this wealth of knowledge that's been given to us by this organization. Pioneer Hall is truly one of my special and most favorite places. Lots of places are known for timber or fish or some other product. Tenino's known for sandstone.
My name is Keith Phillips, and I'm the current stone cutter and carver at the Hercules Sandstone Quarry here in Tenino. Tenino has a long history of stone cutting. It was started with all the Europeans that came to this area and discovered the outcropping of stone and established 3 quarries, starting in 1889. It was a large stone cutting industrial site in 1912 that cut architectural stone. Tenino sandstone from this quarry and the other quarries in Tenino can be found in Seattle and Olympia and Tacoma and Portland, Walla Walla and Spokane and San Francisco and Montana and other places. The Tenino sandstones blessings have risen and fallen over the years with the economic times and the building standards. Sandstone and structural stone was becoming a thing of the past in the 20s. Tenino operated into the 30s. This quarry operated into about 1938. Currently, we are cutting decorative stone in my operation. I came to Tenino to cut stone in 1989, and I will continue carving as long as I can. There is a future for Tenino sandstone. It's a matter of the economic times. The quarries have risen and fallen over the years. They've seen their glories and they've seen their downtimes. Times will continue, and there is a future for these stones.
It's fun to go there and see the quarries that are still in operation and to know that they constructed from here so many buildings across the American West. An amazing place, one of my favorite places. The Skagit Valley has to be one of my very favorite places. It's a remarkable location. The wildlife is something remarkable. The snow geese and trumpeter swans and birds of prey, and it's just an amazing place. The special time of year is when the tulips bloom. They've been growing tulips in the valley since about 1909. It's just such a beautiful thing to see. The seed industry really spawned the tulip industry. Vegetable seed and so forth was grown there. Some of the best seed in the world. And then people said, well, let's go with tulips. It's now expanded out. It's become quite an industry and of course, a huge tourist attraction for that area. That valley is so diverse and so rich. No matter what month of the year, it's one of my favorite places. I just love it.
Howdy, partners, it's your old pal Wild Bill Galveston again. I've got a new tie, and TVW's got a new once-in-a-lifetime deal. Are you a legal junkie? Are you guilty of loving court but don't know where to watch it? Well, we've got a life sentence for you. Come on down to Court TVW where we've got all court all the time. Court of Appeals, we got it. Clemency and Pardons Board, we got it. Court shows and documentaries, we got that too.
Cats riding on robotic vacuum cleaners are a thing.
We even got the Washington Supreme Court.
That's what the law would make me do.
All court, all in one place, all the time. That's right, folks. Point your internet to tvw.org to watch exciting court action 24/7, 365.
If I mispronounced that, I apologize.
Here at Court TVW, we're chopping down courtroom barricades, cutting through the legalese, trimming down the access continuance, and mowing over the coverage injunction. But wait, there's more! Want to sound smart in front of your friends? Learn new words like acquittal, litigation, jurisdiction, and adjudicate. You'll be the life of the party. Before Court TVW, I didn't know an affidavit from an amicus. Now, I'm a sesquipedalianist. When will the court rule? I don't know. What I do know is TVW's got all court all the time. And get this, it's all pro bono. You don't want to miss this, folks. You won't find this deal anywhere else. Watch right now.
You've heard of policy committees and you've heard of fiscal committees, but one critical step in the legislative process that many have not heard of is the Rules Committee. So, we spoke with Speaker Jenkins, the chair of the Rules Committee in the House, and Lieutenant Governor Denny Heck, the chair in the Senate, about how it functions and why this committee has historically been shrouded in mystery, earning the reputation as the gatekeeper.
The last committee that every bill stops at before it can move to the floor of the House is the Rules Committee.
The Rules Committee is the committee that schedules all bills for floor action by the entire Senate.
The members who are on that committee get to choose bills that are going to be eligible to be voted on the floor.
They convene in this room. It's the Rules Committee meeting room. And we can take several actions. First of all, there is a gubernatorial appointment calendar that we can place on the floor calendar.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I move that the gubernatorial appointments on the lilac sheet titled Proposed Gubernatorial Package Pull be advanced to the confirmation calendar.
There is a second reading calendar.
Senator Riccelli. Thank you so much, Mr. President. I move that the committee advance 5528 from the white sheet to the second reading calendar.
And then there's something known as a consent calendar.
Senator Peterson moves that the proposed consent calendar package poll on the pink sheet be placed on the consent calendar. All understand the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Motion carries.
On the consent calendar are bills that have no opposition, that fly through unanimously. They're the easy ones. And then the fourth thing that can happen here is that we have what we call polls. And that's simply where we go around the room and each member gets to move that a certain bill be placed on the floor calendar.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Senate Bill 5014 advance from the white sheet to the floor calendar.
There's been a real evolution in the role that the Rules Committee plays over a long period of time. The Rules Committee used to always be referred to, and I mean always, as the all-powerful Rules Committee. And that is because it was a place where lots of bills went to die. All its deliberations were in secret, so lots of things could go on there with no transparency. But today it really functions largely as an administrative entity under the control largely of the majority party to simply schedule things. Not that many bills die on the Rules Committee anymore.
We don't hear any public testimony. We don't have any arguments or debates about bills, and the Rules Committee doesn't adopt amendments or anything like that. Basically, I just call each member by name. They make a motion for what bill they would like pulled. I repeat the motion. I ask all those in favor to say aye. Everyone always says aye. I ask all those in favor to say no. No one ever says no, and we move to the next bill.
The motion is been moved and seconded that House Bill 1616 be placed on the second reading floor calendar. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those say nay. The motion carries.
There is kind of an unspoken understanding, I think, in rules that while Republicans may object to a bill that the Democrats pull and vice versa with Republican bills, that objection plays itself out in a floor debate, not in a debate in rules. We don't debate the substance of bills in rules. At least that has not happened since I've been Speaker.
It's all televised, it's all open. In fact, there's quite a bit of pride in the Senate for having opened up the deliberations of the Rules Committee for the world to see.
Currently, in 2025, the House Rules Committee has 24 total members, 15 Democrats and 9 Republicans. In the Senate Rules Committee, there are 17 total members, 11 Democrats and 6 Republicans.
We try to have a diversity of members from different committees there. We have an informal rule that committee chairs cannot sit on the Rules Committee because they have a lot of power in their committee to decide what bills move and what bills don't move. So it tends to be more line members, but coming from a diverse group of committees. All the members of the leadership team are on rules. We don't ever have a Rules Committee meeting unless there are enough Republican bills for every Republican member to have at least one bill that they pull, and every Democratic member to have at least one bill that they pull.
Bills do die in the Rules Committee, and they die there for a variety of reasons. One reason may be that the counterpart bill from the other chamber is already farther along in the process. It may be that the contents of that bill were absorbed in another bill. It may be that it just doesn't have the votes. It could be any of a variety of reasons for it to meet its untimely death in the Rules Committee meeting.
The way you get your bill chosen to be pulled from the Rules Committee is if you identify a Rules Committee member who believes your bill is ready to go to the floor. What generally happens if a member has a bill that's moved into the Rules Committee, then you become, as a member, you become a lobbyist for your bill, right? You're lobbying to you're talking to Rules Committee members and saying, would you prioritize my bill as the first bill you pull?
The best way to describe the change in the Rules Committee is it simply functions less powerfully than it once did. Again, it used to be a real stringent gatekeeper, and a lot of measures wouldn't get through it. It's just not so much the case anymore. Gatekeeping now can happen at the actual committee level, the regular policy committees or the fiscal committees, but it also can happen actually on the floor. And what I mean by that is just because a bill gets out of the Rules Committee doesn't mean it gets taken up on the floor for any of a variety of reasons.
Every process we have in the legislature after you file a bill is about narrowing and perfecting the bill. So the committee hearings are intended to get both public input and the input from members to amend the bill, make it better, and improve it along the way. My job is to make sure that we're moving policy that benefits the people of the state of Washington forward. And we do that through policy bills, budgets, and nearly everything we do is focused on just that, helping the people of the state of Washington.
Hello, my name is Jayesh Singhal, and I'm in 9th grade from Kirkland, Washington. Over the last 2 legislative sessions, the legislature has introduced several significant K-12 bills, including proposals to expand student mental health supports, increasing access to school meals, and adjusting the state's school funding formula through changes to property tax authority. Could you explain which of these recent initiatives you believe will have the greatest long-term impact on Washington students, and what barriers you anticipate in implementing them at the district level?
Yeah, thank you for that question. Very complex question that really addresses the problems that we see, very complicated and sophisticated problems. So with this question, what I'll do is focus on the mental and behavioral health support that we desperately need to really push into our school system, into the overall kind of understanding and conversations within the education space. So we need to build a core funding model that focuses on building connected, continuing school behavioral health system. So in other words, to ensure that students can easily find resources and easily get the resources towards mental and behavioral health support. Right now, there are numerous barriers and challenges that we're facing, challenges like fragmentation and the complexity of this problem, financial problems, workforce shortages. In addition, mental behavioral health spans across so many agencies, so without clear guidelines, without clear definitions and clear rules, it can get quite messy. So in other words, I believe that this problem must be tackled with a continuum of support that's close to home, support that partners with families and other entities and friends and students, ensuring that we really tackle the unmet needs of every student and every family. So this initiative would include ensuring that OSPI and the ESDs and school districts and school safety centers and other higher education entities are working in parallel and in line with three major goals. The first is figuring out what our schools need. The second is to provide those resources, assistance, and workforce to meet those needs, to implement and fund these needs, and finally to amplify and strengthen these programs with other professionals like the student assistance professionals. In the end, my hope, my goal, my mission is to ensure that every student receives the support and tools they need to thrive in school. For the greatest long-term impact to your question is to create a system where we are now focused on early prevention so that our students don't need to fall apart before they can ask for help. It means to give students the support they need, whether it's in school or out of school, so that they can focus on learning, so they can be in school and have a brighter future.
Thanks for that question. The last of those three, I think, was answered in previous questions, so I'll focus on the other two. Still believe that funding school meals for all kids is a good policy strategy, because we all know that it's difficult to learn when we're hungry. The mental health topic, I'm glad you brought it up, because that is critically important. I think that everyone struggles or experiences some kind of mental health stressor at some point in their lives, and most of us do on a regular basis. So ensuring that we have adequate staffing in schools for those staff members that are supporting students in that mental health area, I think is really important. I've supported investing large dollar amounts toward paraeducators and other support staff that can oftentimes be a resource in the mental health area. One other bill that is related to this that has been introduced last session and this session is limiting cell phone use in the classroom. We know that those can be a tool for bullying and lead to mental health stressors, and also a distraction from learning. So I'm excited about the prospect of policies statewide that allow students to focus on their academics and remove these distractions that oftentimes lead to bullying.
After the border was established between Canada and the United States on the 49th parallel, a dispute broke out over where was the border through the San Juan Islands. The British sent troops, the Americans sent troops, and we had a standoff here for nearly 8 years and a fight over a pig when one of the farmers' pigs was shot. When I was a little kid on Bainbridge Island studying history, this blockhouse was on the front cover of our history book. This little blockhouse was built to protect the British garrison here on San Juan Island. It truly is one of my favorite places.
So, your bill has been passed by the Senate and the House both. Maybe it took some doing, maybe you needed a conference committee report, maybe you needed concurrence or dispute, but you got it done. Congratulations. Now the governor has a choice to make. He or she can sign it, or not sign it, or veto it, or partial veto it. Those are basically the options, and there are time periods that apply to all of this that I won't go into for our purposes, but they basically depend on whether the legislature is still in session or not, how much time the governor has. Because if the governor vetoes something and the legislature says, no, we don't like your veto, we really meant it, there's a chance for them to override the veto, and they have to do that with a supermajority vote in open session. There's all kinds of minutia about that, but that's the general way that that goes. Veto overrides are very uncommon. I can only think of a handful of them in 3 decades. They do happen, but they're very uncommon. Most commonly, the governor loves your idea because if you're smart, you've been talking to the governor throughout this. And the governor is not in a hyperbaric chamber or buried in a cave somewhere. The governor has people, and he himself is following this and knows what's coming along. And usually is having input into this whole process. So usually you have a pretty good sense of where the governor is before you even get to this stage. So if you've done all your homework and the governor likes your bill, he is going to sign it. Another thing that might happen, though, is he or she might do a partial veto. There are all kinds of rules about what the governor can and cannot veto with a partial veto. Very generally, and I know there's people that would disagree with me, this is a controversial statement, but very generally, the governor may veto an entire section, a total section, not just a sentence, not just a word, but an entire unit. He or she may choose to veto and take out of a bill. There's more to it than that, but for our purposes, that's what a partial veto is. Comes up very commonly with a line item veto is another name for it, and the reason it's called a line item veto is it usually relates to a budget. The governor has the ability to line item, take out a line of a budget, something that he or she doesn't want to spend money on. They can line it out. They can also do that with regular bills. Most commonly, after a set period of time, the bill becomes law, and from then on, it actually goes over to the code revisor's office. They actually put it in those green books. The books are typically green. They could be printed any color, but they're typically green. And it gets put in with the rest of the laws that you can find in any law library, or increasingly, most commonly, you find online. So it's kind of a fun thing to get a bill passed, and when enough time passes, go look up the law you passed in the actual green book or online. It's kind of a fun thing, and it'll even say the year it was passed and all of that. All those details will be in there. And then your bill that is a wannabe law is a law. Congratulations.
Our station's documentary blog takes you behind the headlines, exploring untold parts of big stories.
From wolf recovery to the criminal justice system to tsunami preparation, this collection chronicles more than a decade of documentary filmmaking here on TVW.
Stay with us for a deeper look at the world around you.
Every Sunday here on TVW.
This is one of the hidden gems of our state of Washington, a location where a wide variety of organizations and groups of all kinds of ethnic and racial backgrounds have enjoyed one location together, a spot where they could come to see their favorite performer, or perhaps could come and listen to a lecture, or just enjoy a Sunday afternoon of dance and family gatherings and fellowship. This is a beautiful location located in one of the small valleys in the central area of Seattle. It's been here since 1908, and it truly is one of the gems of the state of Washington. Washington Hall became one of those locations in our state where any ethnic group or any racial background, no matter who you were, you could come and rent the location. Can you imagine if you were here the night that Jimi Hendrix made one of his first performances? Count Basie performed here, Billie Holiday was here, Marian Anderson, you go down the list. The Danish Brotherhood built this hall for the enjoyment of all. They used it as a lodge and a gathering place for dances and family activities, but so many other groups have as well. The Jewish community, the Scandinavian community, the Eastern European community, the Ethiopian and African community, was owned for a while by the Sons of Haiti, then passed on to historic Seattle. And they've done a magnificent job to restore this location. It's a tribute to everyone who ever lived in the area or came here to watch a performance. All of us must express our appreciation for the restoration of Washington Hall. This truly is one of my favorite places. History comes and history goes. Historic locations, sometimes they burn down or fall down, or we lose sight of what were Indian encampments.
All right, everybody, it's 2:32. We're going to resume at 2:35. That gives us 3 minutes before we resume the program. 3 minutes before we resume the program. Thank you, everybody.
Maybe 15 years before the Civil War, by a man of mixed race who came here because of racial discrimination in Oregon and also in Missouri. Bush was one of our state's first settlers. He helped lead a wagon train west along with Michael T. Simmons in 1845. They settled in the valleys right around where now the state capitol is located. George Bush was a man that all of us can respect and learn some lessons from. He helped those who arrived in our state that were dead broke and and needed food for the winter. He became a contributing member of our government formations here. He was involved in the community, and he showed others by his example. One of the things he planted was a butternut tree. Butternuts were a new variety for us. It's an eastern United States tree, but it produced a product, a white walnut, that would last and last and last. And this butternut tree really tells, in some ways, the story of our state as it grew and prospered 176 years, provided seedlings for many other locations around the state. I've had the opportunity to visit Bush Prairie and to come and look at this particular tree when it was standing many, many times. And just like all of us, its days have come to an end. But it's given us a good life and assisted in our history, our heritage, and tells us a little bit about our future as well. Even though the tree's gone, I can see the seedlings of it all around us and all around the state. And they remind me and they make me remember this is one of my very favorite places.
Everyone. Today we're going to be using the legislative website to look up who your legislators are. Here in Washington State, we have 49 legislative districts. There are 2 representatives in each district and 1 senator. So we're going to use the legislative website to find out who those people are. So the first thing you're going to want to do...
All right, we're going to try to get started here. If you can start making your way to your seats. We're going to get started here shortly, just a couple of minutes, as soon as everybody finds their seats. I think your thing shut off, so cut the music. All right, if everybody can start making their way to their seats, we're going to get started. Part 2 of our celebration today. Everybody find your seats. Thank you, thank you. All right, everybody make your way to your seats, please. Thank you, thank you. Can I say something quick? Before we get started, part 2, I know I was putting emphasis on networking. How many people here got contact information from one person they didn't know? Raise your hand. How many got 2 people that they didn't know? Raise your hand. 3? 4? 5? Anybody have more than 5? 6? Got 5? That's great. Thank you. Thank you. I really always encourage it because you're always one connection away from changing the whole trajectory of your life. That's how I like to see it. That's what wound me in the state. But that's another story for another day.
Perfect. Yes, good afternoon. Happy Juneteenth. Hopefully you all have settled in, got something to eat. We are about to start the program again. My name is Devon Brim. I have the pleasure and honor of being the chair of Build. Thank you all for being here. Keep the fight going.
And you've all already met me. I'm Naomi Page. I'm the co-chair of the History and Activities Subcommittee. So I'm honored today to introduce today's MC. But before we do, we would like to take a moment to acknowledge some of our distinguished guests that are joining us today. So to our distinguished guests, when we call your name, please stand and remain standing until we finish recognizing everyone.
And just for some context, our co-chair, she was going to be here, but unfortunately for uncertain circumstances, she's not able, but she sends our best regards. So with that being said, distinguished guests, first and foremost, Dante Payne, Mayor of Olympia. Mr. Payne. All right, next we have Marcus Glasper, Build's executive sponsor and director of Washington State Department of Licensing. Hashtag go. And the great Megan Matthews, Director of Governor's Office of Equity. And Mr. Jesse Jones, Director of Your Washington. Oh, Director Jesse Jones.
All right, we also have Latasha Black, Workforce Strategies and Statewide DEI Manager at the Office of Financial Management. Where did she go? I saw her earlier. It's okay. We have Charles Sutherland, CEO of Western State Hospital, the Civil Center of Excellence. Dr. Andre Blanks, Director of Food Service at Western State Hospital. Oh, there he is, right there. Robert Butler, Regional Operations Administrator, FTA, a Maintenance Operation Division. And Terry Gardner, Director of Security at Western State Hospital, the Gage Center of Forensic Excellence. Thank you. Let's give everybody, all our distinguished guests, a round of applause. One last time. Thank you. All right. All right, so now to our MC for today's program. Dr. Genesee Temple is a consultant within the Office of Equity, Diversion, Inclusion, and Respect at the Washington State Department of Corrections. Dr. Temple works to support safety through greater human understanding in advancing Washington's pro-equity, anti-racism, the PAIR plan, through the evaluation of programs, policies, and procedures.
Not yet. But I have the pleasure of finishing off this introduction. I mean, Dr. Temple, she's a special person to me. She is a person I go to when I have issues or if I'm overthinking. So it's definitely a pleasure to introduce her along with Naomi. But yeah, as she serves as a strategic advisor to BUILD, Dr. Temple is charged with offering guidance on BUILD's processes, workflows, and operational structure in terms of sustainability, in terms of, our organization, and also the impact of business resource groups. In her free time, she enjoys hanging out with her loved ones, traveling, exercising, and staying active within her community. So please, now you can do your applause and welcome Genesee.
Wow, thank you for that introduction. I'm like blushing. I'm like, oh. But I'm learning how to accept when people sing your praises. And so I leave that for you all today. When people speak life into you, accept it. So I'm working on it. I'm bringing it in. So we are going to kick off this program with a little bit of history. Now, I'm going to be reading the history from the paper because it is a lot of history, and I want to capture it accurately and do the story justice. And so last Juneteenth, we highlighted George Bush, the Black pioneer who founded this beautiful city of Tumwater. But this year, we want to tell you about his son. Anyone know his son's name? I heard William? Yes. So William Owen Bush. So let's first recap how this family got to this area. The path wasn't easy to Puget Sound, but George and Isabella Bush and their family had a plan to settle in the American West. They weren't provided many choices since George was a Black American who had left his discriminatory life in Missouri in the mid-1800s. The Bushes first traveled to Oregon, hoping to settle down with their close friend, Irish-American pioneer Michael Simmons and his family, but due to exclusionary laws and practices, they could not settle in Oregon. So instead, they inched their way up to what we now call the South Puget Sound, and here is where they settled and created a new life for themselves and their future generations of not only their families, but of all Washingtonians, and I'll get into how that came to be. So they crossed here, they settled in what is now present-day Tumwater, and with the blessing of the British Hudson Bay's Company and friendship with Chief Leschi and the Nisqually tribe, they established the first non-Indigenous American settlement in Washington state. So already a bunch of firsts for this family. And so although in 1850, Congress excluded Black Americans from making land claims, the Washington territorial legislature successfully petitioned Congress to allow the Bush family to retain ownership of their farm, thus to settle, to flourish, and to grow. So we're talking about William Owen Bush, and he has had considerable impact. So I'm going to ask y'all a trivia question. What is he known for other than being George's son? What is William Owen Bush known for? Yes, he was. Yes, there you go. Ding, ding, ding. And there's another one. So that's one. We got another one. Oh, he was on the Board of Regents for Washington State University. Yes. He helped founded the University of Washington State. How many Cougs are in here? I'm a Coug by proxy, although I graduated from Eastern. Okay, go Eagles. I went to grad school at WSU, so by proxy, I'm a Coug too. So, shout out to William Owen Bush. But not only did he help found the university, he was also the first African American to serve in the Washington State Legislature and is credited also for the inception of WSU. So going back to the story of how they came to be. So after his parents passed away, he inherited the farm. And so he began to grow the success of that farm and receive lots of accolades. So he was very passionate about agriculture, being a good steward of the land, and things of that nature. And so he was elected to the House of Representatives in the new state of Washington in what year? You guys gotta wake up, remember 1889. So he was there at the inception. So after that, he worked with other legislators to pass Washington's first civil rights bill on March 27th, 1890. That following day, the legislature, with Owen leading the way, passed a bill to establish a state agricultural college and school of science. So like we said, that became later WSU. And so on November 19th, 2021, a monument to George Bush and his family's pioneering legacy was dedicated at the Capitol campus in Olympia, and a duplicate was also created and will be dedicated on the WSU Tri-Cities campus to honor him and his legacy. So if any of you are in that area, I highly implore you to check it out. Take some pictures. That's part of history. That's part of Black history. That's part of Washington history. So now you know the story of William Owen Bush. And I think it's just important that we reflect on, Black history being every day, everywhere, in all places here. And I think that was a really lovely way to kind of kick this piece off. So we're going to transition and really set the mood for the day by first starting with a land acknowledgement and a libation. As we all know, we are on the land of the indigenous people who were stewards of this land for many millennia. And we also know that we are gathered here today to celebrate our ancestors that persisted, resisted, and survived. And so as we are getting ready to move into that piece, we have a dynamic historian with us today to facilitate the land acknowledgement and libation ceremony. And so I'll share a little bit about this individual. So Akuye Karen Vargas is founder and director of Living Life Leadership, a youth mentoring program with the New Life Community Development Agency in Kitsap County. She has advocated for youth and their families in Kitsap schools and community for over 25 years. So she is a trained facilitator for the Strengthening African American Families program and chairperson of the Multicultural Advisory Council for the Bainbridge Island School District. She is founder of the Living Arts Cultural Heritage Center in Bremerton. She has organized many Kitsap community events such as 9/11 SOS, Celebration of Hidden History, Healing Our Land, and Healing Our People and the Weaving History Celebration. She is a past recipient of the Linda Gabriel Award for Human Rights, the Woman of Achievement Award, among many other honors, and is an ardent human rights and civil rights advocate. So please give us a resounding welcome to Akuye Karen Vargas.
Hey family, how y'all doing? Yes. Give yourselves a hand for coming out, celebrating with us today. My name is Akuye Karen Vargas. My parents were Lawrence Albert Sowell, Joanna Alfreda Piggies. Their parents were from Richmond, Virginia, Lillian Walker, and we don't know a lot about where we come from because we are enslaved people brought to this land. I always say I come from a stolen people brought to a stolen land. Our heritage, our history, our culture, our lineage was stolen from us, severed from us, beaten out of us. We have had to go back to reclaim that which was stolen from us. And I'm here to pay homage to our ancestors that was put in chains and brought not just to these Americas, but they was enslaved and sold all over the globe. The purpose of libation is to honor our ancestors who provide the ground we stand on, those who were put in chains, exploited, trafficked, sold, raped, enslaved. We are here because of their struggle, their sacrifice. We call the names of our people, our ancestors, and those we know and those we will never know. Those who labored, who hung, bled, died, whose blood and bones are in this soil, who built this nation on their backs and toiled from sunup to sundown, to the spirit of those named and unnamed who stood and struggled before us, beside us, we offer this libation, honoring the strength, their resilience, their unbreakable spirit of our ancestors whose courage carried us from enslavement to emancipation, from Jim Crow to civil rights. We are here today to pay homage. We ask, what was Juneteenth all about? Some people say Juneteenth, oh, we just want to have a block party. A lot of our young people don't even know what Juneteenth is. I said, y'all know Juneteenth? They said, what is that? I said, oh, the erasure is real. When we look around and what's being purged out of our historical markers, our contributions, all those that made those sacrifices, and we can look back, and it hasn't been long. You only gained civil rights back when? When? Think about it. It hasn't been long, y'all. And so as we begin to look at what the future might hold for our young people, they might not know where they're going because they don't know where they came from. They don't know what it took for them to have the freedoms, the liberties that they enjoy now. They think it's all about a Facebook. But when we begin to teach our young people who they are, where they come from, their rich history, their heritage, all that they've contributed, not just to this nation, but to the globe, they have transformed human existence. So as we begin to pour these libations, I want you to call out the names of your ancestors. Even those you might not know, that you know they was on those plantations and they were laboring. So as we begin to pour these libations, understand the intent, understand what the meaning of Juneteenth is really about. You know, they only made it, a celebration, a couple of years ago? How many of us even know how long Juneteenth have been in existence? It's one of the oldest celebrated celebrations in this entire nation, but they don't talk about it. So as we begin to pour these libations, I want you to begin to call out your ancestors, those that you know have made the sacrifice, those that you know their blood is in this soil. Those that had come through, I think about the Black Panthers. They exterminated them brothers and sisters, put them incarcerated them in the jails. They destroyed their neighborhoods. They even eradicated many of our communities. They talk about gentrification. Well, that's an erasure, y'all. As we begin to think about where we're going to build, how we want to build, how Blacks United in Leadership and Diversity wants to build, I want you to think about what it was all about. They think it wasn't about just, the enslavement. No, it was about money, y'all. Capitalization, exploitation, human trafficking. We better understand. We don't name it what it really was. Human degradation, genocide. So we want to begin to understand our history so we know where we're going. And we know how we need to empower, inspire these young people to be able to move us to the next century. Because if we look around with administration the way it is now, you might look around and your children and your children's children might be back in chains. And that would be a horrible thing to even think about or imagine. So as we pour these libations, I want you to begin to call out the names of your ancestors and the names of those that came before us. I'll call out mine: Joanna, Lawrence Albert, Larry, Janet, Faye. Come on, y'all. I know I'm not the only one that got relatives. That's it. Call them out. Come on. Come on. That's right. That's it. Your ancestors. All those that came before us. So as we begin to understand what libation is all about, it's all about remembering all those that came before us, whose shoulders we stand on now. Thank you.
Let's give another round of applause. I'm gonna stop messing with this before I break it. Let me just put it down. Okay, thank you. Because it would be me. I'm clumsy by nature and design. Hence why I have on my sneakers today. I was at the gym and I hurt my knee. It's okay, I had surgery. It's better now. It's new. But got to keep the comfortable shoes on. Okay, so let's transition to our guest poet, one of our guest poets. So born and raised in Washington State, Faith Richardson is a student-athlete graduate from the University of Massachusetts. She has a passion for spoken word and began performing spoken word at Renton High School talent shows and assemblies. Post-high school, she began performing at community events, most notably the annual Renton Juneteenth celebration and the University of Massachusetts Many Voices show. She hopes that her writing can bring healing and comfort to broken communities. Faith has her own blog, Reflection of Faith Alina, where she shares poetry, inner thoughts, and short stories. So please help me welcome Faith to the stage.
Hello. I'm messing up. Okay. As was said, I'm Faith Richardson. Currently, I've made it out of college. I just completed my first year as a middle school ELA teacher. Thank you. And I'm honored to be here today. Poetry was a way for me to find my voice. As a little girl, I lost my mother, and I had so much grief, and I felt like I had lost my voice. And poetry was what liberated me. And so it fills me with so much pride, and I'm so honored to be up here to talk about our liberation with the words that I've used to try to liberate myself. And as a teacher, it is my job to liberate my community and to liberate our community. So I'm so grateful to be here. All right, so with the theme being balance, this first poem talks about the reality of being within the fulfillment of our ancestors' dreams, but still pushing for our own vision and still pushing to further our community. So I frolic in the fields of my ancestors' dreams, skipping through green pastures, indulging in my physical freedom, strolling through the plains of civil rights, The red lines eventually ripped up. My education, extracurriculars, jobs, and homes have all been provided from a great plight. Those were the luxuries handed to me. Again, I say my ancestors' dreams. The eradication, I have a different vision. The eradication of an infrastructure built on barbarism and hate. Excavation of the colonialism that still runs our days. The structure responsible for Black women's maternal mortality rate. The one that upholds inferiority and depictions of violence through media monopolies. I ask myself, what do you do when you live within fulfillment and a dream deferred? Mrs. Coretta Scott King once said, struggle is a never-ending process. Freedom is never really won. You earn it with each generation. So maybe not a dream deferred, but a vision that is constantly redefined and pursued. Today, we embrace that process and celebrate a historical win, our exodus, the conditions of enslavement laid to rest, a recognition of humanity, no longer perceived as property, but as the autonomous beings that we have always been. In celebrating this, I am overjoyed, grateful that the chains were never my forced reality. But ease, it never lasts for long. Our old conditions brought forth as domestic terrorism, Jim Crow laws, and incarceration. You shut down one company only to present to us a rebrand, a new product launch. Since the beginning, we have been the greatest commodity. Slavery, chain gang, private prisons, freed with nowhere to go, Reconstruction crumbled. A return to the old infrastructure, snatching up colored folks. 3-strike policy, no empathy for epidemic. Incarcerate our community, but make it legal for yours. 21 plus can now buy someone's 9-year bid. We continue to be the inventory. Once again, our system is crumbling in, from voting to education. And I'm standing right here, placing my faith in community, knowing that we have been here before. We come from a lineage of resistance. This has always been our story. So nourish your soul. Belt out those spirituals. Prioritize your health. Lift the pressure away and run from stress. I need you rested. I need you rejuvenated. I need you in a state prepared to fight for the vision of our generation. A daunting reality it may seem, but like Simba, we have been known to laugh in the face of danger, to show composure in the company of violent hate, to have a unified joy in painful times. And we have the audacity to confidently demand all that has been deferred. Thank you. Oh, sorry, I have one more. And to continue on with that, right, the only way to excavate the colonialism that is within us, right, the only way to teach others is through radical love. And so I have one last piece that is about love. It is an action known by all, yet different in every eye. It keeps us human. But if it is so vital, why is it never applied? Love has become misconstrued as systems of power have been introduced. The place where our egocentrism was conceived, the inability to see another being. This is what I interpret as the evacuation of love. Your people are discussed as past tense, believed to be extinct. Mine are known as the hunted, the prey of America. We live on your land as a country built by my people. We weren't shown love, believed that we were unworthy of such a thing. Never knowing love's true extent, it includes all living things. We are worthy of love because we are here. Like intrinsic value, there is something intrinsic about love, an action that is embedded into every being. So when asked, what is love? Know that it isn't this romantic fantasy that we've all been sold. It is not binary. There is no right way or wrong answer. Love is the comforting smell of grandma's homemade meal as you all gather around the table. Love is the burning of your swollen eyes as you cry for another lost Black life that you never even knew. Love is the sparkle in your mom's low almond brown eyes when she comes home to you and your siblings after a 10-hour shift. Love is being greeted with warm hugs and gentle embraces as you enter a church that gives all people the opportunity to worship together as a community. Love can be embraced into our every action. Love can change the DNA of our nation, break the chains of malice that binds us all. It is our only pathway for existence, because our submission to hate will become our biggest oppressor. Thank you all so much.
Yes, yes. Please clap it up for Faith. Thank you so much for sharing those beautiful words and beautiful pieces. Okay, let me get myself organized. Okay, so we are transitioning to our first guest speaker of the afternoon. So in November 2021, Dante Payne was elected to the Olympia City Council. 2 years later, he ran for mayor of Olympia, and on November 7th, 2023, he was elected mayor, winning nearly 70% of the votes in this nonpartisan election. The people have spoken. They liked you. So with that, as Mayor Dante Payne is working to bring more affordable housing and economic development to the Olympia region. He also supports improvements in public safety and hopes to address systemic discrimination in the city. We're rooting for you. In August 2024, Mayor Payne called for a task force or commission to study awarding reparations to descendants of enslaved Africans in the United States. He states that the United States government did not fulfill the promise made to free slaves of 40 acres and a mule. Does everyone know what 40 acres and a mule was? The unkept promise, right? And consequently, as we can see in all facets of our society, not being granted reparations for the hundreds of years of forced torture and labor has had damaging effects on our communities, and which are still felt very presently today. So this is very important for a number of reasons. And it has resulted often in a lack of intergenerational wealth for many African American families. So Mayor Payne is also, on top of being a mayor, full-time job, Mayor Payne is also employed as an equity and community partnership manager with the Washington State Department of Revenue. So please give a very warm, robust welcome to Mayor Payne.
Thank you so much, Genesee, for the introduction. Y'all, before I speak, I just want to acknowledge the black women that have been up here on this podium before I speak. Can we give it up for all the beautiful black women that have spoken? Faith, I lost my mother too. So when you said that, it made me think of her and how I see her face in every black woman I see. So good afternoon, everybody. Yes, so thank you for having me today as we celebrate Juneteenth once again. Juneteenth should matter to all of us because it is not only Black history, it's American history. It is the story of a nation that is striving to close the gap between its highest aspirations and a lived reality. So when we state employees observe Juneteenth, we are recognizing a chapter of history that continues to shape the lives of the people we serve and aspiring to have a government that exists to serve all people fairly, equitably, and with dignity. Juneteenth challenges us to ask the important questions. Who was excluded from opportunity? Who was denied access to justice? Whose stories were overlooked? And what can we do today to ensure that public institutions work for everyone? And those questions are not political, y'all. They're critical to good public service. As mayor of our state's capital, I know that public administration is the top employment sector, and I feel a sense of obligation to speak to this truth. Today, we honor our ancestors who preserved and persevered opportunities over struggle, created community where there was exclusion and dehumanization, and continued believing in America's promise even when America had not fully delivered on that promise. And that understanding is part of why the city of Olympia supported efforts to establish a study of reparations, and why Washington has launched the Charles Mitchell and George Washington Bush Study on Reparative Action. And I was proud to do so as mayor. We are the only city council in the state of Washington to have passed a resolution calling on our state to do this. And I'm very proud to have led that effort. So too often reparations are misunderstood. Some hear the word and they immediately think about getting a handout. But reparations are not about charity. They are not about assigning guilt to people living today, and they are not about giving something for nothing. And at their core, reparations are about repair. So when harm is done, we recognize an obligation to make things right. We understand this concept when it comes to nearly every other facet of life, until we're faced with the reality that it's this generation's problem to fix. Not just past generations and not just future generations. This generation. The wealth that was taken from enslaved people was real. The opportunities denied through discrimination are real. The barriers to housing, education, employment, and economic advancement are real. And for many families and individuals, these effects remain real. There is a ripple effect of trauma and harm that has lasted generations. And this is the legacy of slavery. Justice requires more than just acknowledging these facts. It requires us asking what meaningful repair looks like. The purpose of studying reparations is not simply to revisit history. It's to understand the connection between the past and the present realities, and to identify actions that can help close these gaps. Because if we're willing to celebrate freedom, we must be willing to examine who was denied it. If we celebrate opportunity, we have to recognize when opportunity is systematically withheld. And if we celebrate the promise of equality and equity, we must be willing to confront the ways that the promise was denied or delayed for some of us. And this is how Juneteenth brings balance to America's celebration of freedom. Think of Sankofa. We look back while we're moving ahead. Juneteenth asks us whether America's highest ideals have reached everyone. And reparative action asks a further question. what is owed when we discover that the ideals of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness did not, in fact, reach or apply to everyone. So for those of us who are entrusted with public service, Juneteenth is not only a celebration of freedom gained, it is a reminder of our ongoing obligation to ensure that government helps expand freedom and opportunity and dignity for every person who calls Washington home. So today we celebrate, but let's also honor those who waited for far too long to receive the freedom that was rightfully theirs. Let us celebrate the countless contributions of Black Americans throughout Washington state and across this nation and throughout the world, as we heard earlier. Let us remember Charles Mitchell, the 13-year-old boy enslaved in Olympia from age 8, and to those whose names history forgot. And let us continue to work of building a community and a state where liberty, justice, and opportunities are realities that are experienced by everyone. So I want to thank BUILD for hosting this year's celebration once again and for inviting me back. Thank you so much. And I want to thank all of you dedicated public servants for being here today and for bringing balance to America's celebration of freedom. And I'm going to end on something I'm going to borrow from the pastor, Reverend David Reeves from New Life Baptist Church in Lacey, Washington. And so y'all repeat after me. What we cannot do alone, we can do together. And I got to repeat it because we Black. What we cannot do alone, we can do together. That's right. All right. Thank you all. Happy Juneteenth.
I love that. We got a little bit of call and response in this afternoon. Okay, so I want to introduce you to our next guest poet of the afternoon, Ebo Barton. So Ebo Barton is a Black and Filipino, transgender and non-binary poet and educator who currently resides in Seattle, Washington by way of Los Angeles, California. For the past 12 years, they have participated in national and international poetry slam competitions as a representative of Seattle. Their most notable poetry slam accolade is placing 5th in the world in 2016. That's no small feat. You may have seen Ebo's work in Adrian, a poetry journal by Sibling Rivalry Press, Thriving While Trans, a love manual, Natasha Marin's Black Imagination, Right About Now, Button Poetry, and All Deaf Poetry. They and their work have been featured in Seattle Weekly, Seattle Gay News, Seattle Review of Books, and Crosscut. Their work touches on political issues and a personal point of view that is often born from struggles of living in the identities that they hold. Ebo believes in the power of language and art as a tool for revolution. So welcome to the stage, Ebo.
Hey everyone, how you doing? Good. I'm always so scared when people read my bio because what if I don't do that? But anyway, I have 2 poems for y'all today, and I hope you enjoy them. We can put anyone on a pedestal and call them a hero. But if we've never seen a hero, if hero is not in our language, if hero was only made for fantasy books, fevers, and films, if anyone we've ever thought was a hero was death or disappear or disappointment, we adapt to a life of never needing to be rescued. But survive somehow is. It's brewed into the way our people move. They say in this current political climate, but we say this has been the climate. Where have you been climbing? Have you not seen us? We weave flower bouquets into protests so seamless while grieving death. The people invest in small business. You can't tell me my people don't know survival. the way we turn every single no into a yes, yes, yes from our chests, it's important to remember we are not disasters. Disaster was built around us. And we've been building back better with the debris and the gust of winds upon the barriers, with our wrists tied behind our backs for centuries. It's no wonder why live sits at the top of our tongues to leap from grace every time we open our mouths to say, we deserve better than this. We all deserve better than this. We have never needed to be rescued, especially from the same hands that molded the tragedy. These people, my people, have kept me and so many others living longer than I could have ever even imagined. So let the aunties guide you. Remap your bones by the design of my pop-pop. Invest in our wisdom. Invest who is standing behind the cameras, who is working in our kitchens, on the streets, and in our classrooms, because we have never needed to be rescued. We needed to be untied. Thank you. And I got one more for y'all, and it's inspired by Beyonce, because who's not inspired by Beyonce? Shout out to Beyonce. When I came out to my mother, her first reaction was to comment on the volume of my voice when I said transgender, as if being myself in public wasn't already loud. I lowered my voice. Do you reach adulthood when your parents' reactions to your unblossoming start to sound hollow like an empty cage? When you look into a mirror and discover you are the only and ugliest salvation your family ever inherited? Do you reach full-grown adulthood when your reflection rejects you in your second language? The language you kept safe in your back pocket is an exhausted compass that only points towards the ocean. What about respect for my elders means mute myself? Are you still an adult if you just want to go home? I learned that being free isn't what everyone wants, especially if you find custody convenient. And I know that you think my gender makes you angry, that your Jesus did not die for this, but the truth is, my gender binds you to fear, uncovers your discomfort from seeing the rapture of my reach, these bare wrists. What about my freedom scares you? I named myself Igbo to worship the slave rebellion that drowned their captors, rose into the sky, turned into birds, and flew back home. Why would you deny me this worship? Why would you keep this story trapped in a book? And don't mistake me for fearless. It's taken me a whole lifetime to get back home, but I'm still willing to come back for you if you want to come. Jaden Smith's skirt. Billy Porter's entire wardrobe. Lizzo's exposed thong, Monroe Bergdorf's middle finger, Zaya Wade, Harriet Tubman, my beard, my pronouns, my lips blossoming on a shoulder blade. We are the efflorescence of eternal emancipation. Come with us. Before I leave, tell my mother I've uninstalled the whisper in my authentic. And if you don't want to untie the knots of shame, trying to convince you compromises the wind cradling my wings, so stay in bliss. But ask yourself, are you free, or are you conditioned to this captivity? Whatever the answer is, please let me live. I just want to go home. Thank you all very much.
Yes, yes. Give it up for Igbo. Amazing, amazing. And Igbo, I want to say something to you directly. Of course I was going to read that bio, okay? You belong here. You take up space here. Yes, yes. So I think that's a huge thing to name, that we all belong. None of us are needed to be excluded from these spaces. We are safe amongst each other. We are community, and we are within community together today. So I would love to introduce our keynote speaker. So Megan Matthews is committed to a lifelong journey of pursuing and living the values of equity and justice. She earned her master's degree in public administration from the Evergreen State College, where she also, oh, go ahead. Anybody from Evergreen, go ahead. Okay. I love it, yes. So the Evergreen State College, where she also taught emphasizing democratic governance and social change for current and future public administrators. She is passionate about social justice and ensuring fairness for everyone, especially the next generation that includes her daughters, nieces, and nephews. Megan was Bill's inaugural chair, and now she is the director of the Governor's Office of Equity, pursuing equity and justice for all Washingtonians. So please come to the stage, Megan.
I'm like, Genesee, I'm going to move around because that's what I like to do. What an amazing program. If you're Build leadership or in the Build subcommittee or membership of one of the subcommittees, can you just stand up so we can just recognize you for your hard work? Thank you. Thank you so much for your efforts. I remember putting together these events, and it's a lot of efforts in addition to your paid work, right? So thank you for this. Faith, I'm like, what is this? I also lost my mom young, and one thing I really always loved hearing, which I want to say to you, is your mom would be proud of you. Yeah. She'd be proud of you. And Dante, your mom would be proud of you too. So Megan Matthews, she, her pronouns. I am the director of Washington State's Office of Equity. I was thinking about what I wanted to share today, and I want to start by acknowledging that right now, people may feel less free than they felt last year or the year before. How many of us may be feeling like that right now? It's hard times. We get, the Office of Equity, we get emails, we get phone calls of people who feel terrorized and terrified. And I want to value and validate those feelings. And I want to give you some hope so that you can feel, one, the weight of what we're facing right now, but also the possibilities, and find some time for some joy. So we've heard from the mayor of Olympia about the great things they're doing. I want to share some more of the things that Washington State is doing to let you know we ain't stopping and we ain't giving up and we ain't going nowhere, okay? So for those of you who don't know a little bit about my background, I was born and raised Tacoma, Washington. Yeah. Oh, yes. You know, sometimes I say that and people are like, woohoo. And I'm like, okay. But we got a lot of 253 in here. I love it. Yes, yes, yes. And I better be seeing y'all at the Juneteenth celebration on Friday. Yes. There's one in Seattle on Friday as well. So if you don't feel bad if you're not from Tacoma, you can still do it big because Seattle does it big too. Okay. So I come from a family that we didn't have a lot financially, right? But we had a lot of love. Black people make a way out of no way, okay? We know how to throw it down. That's why our food is so flavorful and so yummy and everything, because we know how to make a little bit go far, right? Now we just have to deal with the blood pressure from a lot of salt and stuff we put in our food. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to tell nobody. Okay. And I come from a generation, my parents told me, work hard, good grades, go to college, get a good job. And so in high school, Lincoln High School, I heard that over there. I played so I'm tall, right? I played volleyball and basketball. Surprise, surprise. I worked part-time, and I'm the oldest of 4. So I used to take care of my siblings. Any oldest siblings in here? Okay, we know. If they get in trouble, you getting in trouble. Don't do it, okay? Yeah. Remember when they used to get hurt, you're like, oh, shh, don't say, don't cry. Yeah, you know that. Who was the baby up in here who was crying? Who was the babies up in? See? I knew it, yeah. And I had a 3.91 GPA. It's a pretty good, yes. So I should just go to college, right? And then I was thinking, I said, wait, how do you go to college? K through 12, they assign you your next school, right? College, I said, do I call somebody? I show up on a campus somewhere. I don't hey, I'm here. Can you accept me? I actually didn't know. I'm a first generation college student, 4 years college student. I didn't know. My parents, they gave me what they could. They didn't know how to get me there, right? And so a teacher, one of my high school teachers, a couple of them actually, they showed me they actually showed me different colleges. That's the first step. Then they helped me with the college essays, the college tuition fee waivers, right? Because you have to pay to apply to college. Barrier, right? And who would have known about a waiver? I didn't know about a waiver. Many people didn't know, right? And because of their efforts, I was able to go to college. I worked hard. They gave me access. Okay? So when we talk about what is equity, what are we doing? We're creating access. There's a lot of resources and opportunities out there, right? But people don't know about them. It's not that they don't want them, right? They don't know. And even if they knew, they don't know what the steps are to access it, right? Right? So when we talk about what is equity, one of the things that we're doing in our office is plain talking it. Because I'm going to tell another story. I got embarrassed when I went back home to the soul food restaurant in Tacoma, Uncle Therm's, because I live in Olympia now. And he said, older black people, they get in your business, and you better be respectful, okay? So he said, what you up to now? And I said, oh, I'm an equity, diversity, inclusion specialist. He said, you a what? You knew it. You was there, huh? I knew it. And so I was like, oh. And then I was thinking about all the terms and phrases that I'd learned at work that we were supposed to say. And he was just getting more and more with the facial expressions, And I was mortified. I was so embarrassed. This is a black man. It's a black man. Here I am saying, I'm here to help you. We're going to make the state better. And I can't even communicate to you. How condescending is that? Right? So when I'm telling my story about access because I want to explain that's what equity is. It's about access. And different people across Washington State have different needs. And it is our job as public servants. I like to say I'm a bureaucrat, proud, state employee for 18 years. Yes. I started at the Division of Child Support in DSHS. Mm-hmm. Yep, as a child support case manager. Now that I've been learned a little bit, I'm a little cringe about some of the things I say back then. I'm sorry for that. But I have grown up in government, and I have seen and experienced the things that we do well and where we need to change. And that changes upon all of us, right? The Washington State Office of Equity was established in 2020. We're in law. We can celebrate that. We're one of the few offices in the nation in law. You're supposed to clap about that. I'm giving you something to celebrate, okay? We got to be happy about that. Because when you're in law, it's harder to eliminate, right? Harder to eliminate. Okay. Well, I'll give you one more thing. We're also the largest Office of Equity in the nation by far. We currently have about 40 people who work in our office. Yeah, right. I know. The next largest, last time I checked, is Colorado, and they have 7. So Washington State, our legislature and our governor have significantly invested in equity in a Washington for all. We can celebrate that. So that's a couple of things that I think we can celebrate. And I actually just finished my first congressional visit, first official visit. So I met with some members of Congress and their staff. One other thing that I want to give you to celebrate is that it left me with the feeling or with the knowledge that Washington State is the leader that we seek. We are the leaders that we seek in the nation. I think that context is helpful, right? Because we know we ain't there yet, right? We got a lot to do. There's things that ain't right that are still happening. But in this time where we're like, I don't know where the hope is. I don't know why. I want to let us know in this great state, we have gotten some things right, and we're going to keep moving it forward. Yes. Yeah. And when we are moving for a Washington for all, that means all, right? So the Governor Ferguson signed Executive Order 2509 for helping to make sure we can do what we can to protect our Washington neighbors who are immigrants and refugees. The Office of Equity is the leader of the Immigration Subcabinet. We have our reparations study. We have the Community Reinvestment Plan, which will invest in communities impacted disproportionately by the war on drugs. We have the Black Homeowner Covenant, so it helps Black people get homes. And we have a lot of other things. We just passed language access legislation to make sure that the state government starts moving consistently forward to make sure everybody has access to the information for their services in the language that they speak, because we know if you don't have access to information, sometimes it's the difference between life and death. Okay, are y'all feeling a little bit like, okay, I have a little bit to be happy for. I got some joy. I can. Okay, good. That was one of the things I wanted to make sure that we did. We wear a lot of things. We can be a lot of things. And we have a lot of work ahead of us. One thing I'm proud about on this Freedom Day is the people who came before me. I almost cried when I saw Akoya. I said, oh my gosh, something about that woman, she just brings it out of me. I don't know what it is, but when I see her, I feel home. You know, I feel home. And she has been doing an incredible amount of work in Kitsap County. Kitsap County. Yeah. So if you live in the Bremerton area, find her, connect with her, right? She's doing history of Black people in Kitsap County. It's incredible. We are finding our roots wherever we can, as far as we can, right? I think about when Dante was talking about reparations, right? And people are like, oh, this is why are we giving handouts and things like that. It made me think about, like, okay, if they had just left us alone after slavery, we might have done it. Anybody hear about Black Wall Street? The Freedmen's Bank? If they had left us alone, we'd have been all right, I think. You know what I'm saying? I like, keep your little 40 acres in a mill. We're going to have 80 acres and then some, okay? If they would have just left us alone. But tell me if I'm wrong. I think racism is still present. Am I wrong? Okay, because that's what I thought, that we still have some things to do, right? Even in Washington State, the laws may have gone away, but the practice still continues, right? I think I saw something that says we're still more segregated today than we were when the redlining was in the law that they could do it, right? And so that means we have to study our mindset. We have to look at how we're approaching our work. I will say that the Washington State Office of Equity exists to facilitate policy and systems change. You can look up our RCW if you want. It's a lot of stuff in there. It's RCW 43.06D. I like to summarize it by saying we facilitate policy and systems change, and we bring accountability to Washington State government. It's massive, right? So we got 40 people, but there's 75,000 state employees. So we're going to do what we can, but you can see we have a big plate on our hands, to a big mandate. And so part of what we do is help state agencies, which means it's people. People design, implement, and maintain our systems and our processes, right? And when we talk about data and disparity, we look at how different people groups are impacted differently from our systems. And our data tells us that our state government is impacting people differently, right? So, you may have experienced it because you had an access to our systems, right? You're like, ooh, please help me get somebody who answers the phone who's going to help me. Please give me a case manager who wants to really help me and understand me and treat me like a human being, right? That's us. Not only us, but it's us, right? So what I've been trying to do is we come to these events. I've been speaking to lots of different groups of people, and I promise I won't stay too long because this is what I love doing. I love hanging out with y'all. I love getting out with y'all. I love the music. I was trying to dance and everything. This is what I love to do. But one thing I want to challenge all of us, Dante said, right? We can do it together. Do one thing. Just do one thing different, right? Systems of oppression, racism, they're massive things. But if each one of us go to our work, go to our jobs tomorrow and do one thing differently, our systems will make significant progress. It doesn't have to take generations upon generations upon generations upon generations. It doesn't have to take all of that. It only takes that because we don't like doing things differently. Right? When you're told to do something different, it's not just y'all, it's all of us. I'm a bureaucrat too. I do it too. I'm like, why I gotta do that? Wow, always asking me for new things and all that stuff, right? But the reality is when we're not changing, our system isn't changing and people are being hurt. And right now, people need government to change big. No more incrementalism. I see some leaders up in here. No more incrementalism. No more, let's try one thing at a time and wait 10 years and see if that works, and then we can make a little more adjustment. None of that. Listen, I grew up in state government, right? I know all the things that we do, okay? I've done them. But we can't do that anymore. This Freedom Day, commit to doing something different, to take a real action and a real step, and to make sure your colleague, get a couple colleagues in it too. Say, we got to do something different today. Today. We have to do something different today. We cannot rely on rigidly interpreting law and interpreting it in a way where we're valuing our value is the possibility of a lawsuit, right? Versus the risk of someone losing their life because we don't act, or someone not losing their home, or someone, not having enough to pay and going hungry. That should be the highest risk. If I'm going to get sued, let me get sued for trying to do the right thing, because you know what? We get sued anyway, don't we? I also want to share some things that I've learned, just to kind of give you some things too. And I know if you have to go through your leadership, do that. But in the Attorney General's office, I'm glad Nick isn't here, because he'd be like, hold on now. This is what they told me, though. I'm just going to tell you what they told me, okay? They give you advice. They don't give you direction. They don't give you the answer. When somebody gives you advice, what does that mean you get to do with it? And sometimes you can say, I don't like that. Go back and give me another advice. I've done that. Why am I telling you this? Because when we seek our guidance from our attorneys as well, we typically say, I don't know, this is what my AAG said. I have to do it. You don't have to do it. They've told me we don't have to do it. We give them advice. As agency leaders, we assume the risk, not the attorneys. I assume the risk when I make decisions on behalf of the Office of Equity. And your agency leaders do too. I'm telling you this because that's another barrier in our systems, right? And so be thoughtful. Now, I know we have risks too when we are trying to push, right? Especially Black women, please. Don't I know, right? It's hard. I know how it is, me standing on my 5'11" without my heels on or little platforms on. It's intimidating. How do I know? Because I've been told. I'm a direct communicator. How I'm speaking to you right now is how I talk all the time. We live in the Pacific Northwest, where we are all passive, and we take 15 minutes to say something that could have been said in 1 minute, right? We don't like being direct. You're hurting my feelings. Right? And I'm passionate. So when you get me up and I'm like, and then, that's us, right? We get all excited, right? We're in our little groups. I'm not mad. I'm just excited. You know what I'm saying? Well, you'll know when I get mad because then my nose gets to flaring and stuff like that. So what I'm saying is there's a risk to all of us, right? But each and every one of us have power. We do have a little bit of power. We make decisions about how we show up on our work every day. And because we are people who have been oppressed over a long period of time, we know how it feels. So make a commitment to not perpetuate that on the people who are seeking services from you, because usually when they're interacting with the state, well, if they have to get their license, they have to, but or if they get a professional license, they have to, right? But usually, when they're seeking services, it's probably the worst time of their life. And some of us maybe have had to seek. My family was on benefits too. Nobody likes it. We don't enjoy it. Back in the day, they used to be all up in your house. They would come up in your house too. Nobody likes that, right? And they don't understand you because there's a cultural barrier, right? And so I just want to challenge each of us to do one thing. And I got Jesse back there, who's the director of Your Washington. He's focused on the customer experience. So everything that I'm talking about, right, is about the customer experience. We were talking, I said, Jesse, the things that I'm doing, you can't do them without each other. We can't focus on equity without focusing on the customer experience. And you can't focus on the customer experience without equity, because no matter where I'm in Washington, people say the government is leaving them behind. Everywhere. Eastern Washington, Central Washington, Western Washington, up and down almost toward Canada, down to Vancouver, they up out to the coast. They all feel like government is not listening to them, is not hearing them. Everybody feels that way. And I was like, you're all right. You're all unique. You have unique challenges, right? And we, state employees, can be empowered to make that changes so that one day we all can be free. One day we can all be free. And that can happen in our generation. I refuse to believe that we have to continue waiting generation upon generation. Aren't y'all tired? I'm tired. I commit to you as the director of Washington State's Office of Equity that I will do everything in my power to make it so and to create pathways for you and to give cover to you. You let me know what you need, okay? Because we're in this, okay, that must be my timer going off saying stop talking. Thank you. I need it because I'll be up here all day like, we trying to go home, Megan. Let us out. It's like, this is worse than church, Megan. Let us out of here. Oh, my gosh. Okay, I'll stop. But I just want you to know, I really want to leave it with, we do still have things to be happy and we still have things to celebrate in Washington State. That you have people, leaders. We have a ton of elected black leaders across the state, sometimes, some of them for the first time in our history. And sometimes we focus on the policy creation, which is our elected officials, but we don't focus on the policy implementation. That's us. We are parts of the politics because we implement policy, right? So when people say, oh, we don't get in politics and state, yes, we do. We implement policy. That means we're a part of politics, right? We ain't part of that nasty stuff over there, but we are, and we can step into our power, and we can do our part as public servants to do more. So that's the other thing I want to leave you with. And then the third thing is, I got you. Whatever I can do, whatever you need, you're not alone. Let me know what I can do to make things a little bit easier for you. Thank you so much.
You guys just witnessed the infiltration. So we just wanted to take a moment to just thank Megan. She had been asking us about getting a Build t-shirt for a long time. And this woman is busy. I'm going to give you some tea. We've been planning, she's also my mentor, so we meet monthly and just, talk about stuff. But I've been trying to meet her in person for lunch for the longest time to surprise her with these two with me so we can get her shirts. But we've been unsuccessful, so we're going to do it today in front of everybody here. So. This is our Build t-shirt that we have our flag behind it. So here's that one.
Thank you.
And also, we've kind of made it a little tradition that at every event we give our speakers and performers a t-shirt. And so Sol has a t-shirt for you.
I get two?
Well, this is our Build t-shirt. And we always, that's right.
Yes, thank you.
And like I said earlier, we always like to give our people like Megan and all the other performers and speakers their flowers. So your choice.
Oh, it's so hard. I'm gonna be up here forever trying to choose. I'll choose this one. Thank you.
And we want to thank you for being here today with us.
want to say one more thing. I was talking with Genesee, just sitting at she was like, oh yeah, now we have strategic advisors in Build. I said, what? I am, as one of the original planners of Build, right, and the first chair, thank you. We just wanted to leave a strong foundation. It warms my heart that y'all are improving it, making it better, creating new ways that people can get involved. And the strategic advisor is so smart. Like that's the person looking around and across the thing and saying, do we have the right? I just love that. I'm really proud of what you all are doing. You continue to do. So well done to all the Build leaders and folks who continue making this thing great.
Thank you. So let's just give a round of applause for everyone who has come up today, who has shared their wisdom, their knowledge, their words, their power. And so I'm going to wrap up my portion before I pass it to Devon. And I always want to be like Mimi, but they don't, Naomi, to close this out. So first, I want to thank everybody for your presence today. Juneteenth is not only a remembrance, but it is a celebration of our freedom, our resilience, and of our collective futures. So much today has focused on not only where we've been, but more so looking forward. And I truly believe that that's what Juneteenth is about. We honor the legacy of that freedom through veneration, through spoken word, through our leaders who have emerged because of the shoulders of the ancestors that we stand on. Juneteenth is not a day of sorrow, but a day of celebration and belief that everyone deserves freedom to thrive and flourish. For the last 161 years, we have innovated. We have turned chitlins into a delicacy. Okay. Our lived experiences into blues, R&B, house music, rap, gospel, etc. We have turned our hair into crowns adorned with beads and shells and gold and shea butter and oil sheen. And I hope no one's using pink lotion. Don't use pink lotion no more. We got some healthier stuff out there. And our culture is the mainstream, okay? Black American talent, art, expression is imitated but never duplicated across the world. And so on Juneteenth, which is in a couple days, we do not mourn. We celebrate, we ring shout, we lift our heads with pride, and we march forward. I hope that today you walk out feeling immense joy, hope, and pride for a continued future of freedom and the pursuit of happiness. Thank you.
All right, so as we bring our program to a close, Build would like to thank our Washington state agencies and other sponsors whose contributions helped make this event possible. So first we have the Commission of African American Affairs, Commission on Hispanic Affairs, Department of Children, Youth, and Families, Department of Licensing, Department of Revenue, Department of Social and Health Services, Department of Transportation, Department of Veterans Affairs, Employment Security Department, Healthcare Authority, and the Office of Equity.
And just to extend this gratitude is we want to thank the Office of Financial Management, Washington Federation of State Employees, Washington Home Ownership Resource Center, along with Washington State Arts Commission, and also Washington State's Employee Credit Union, and then also Washington State's Historical Society and Washington State's History Museum, Tacoma, and then also Washington State's Women's Commission, along with Western State Hospital Gage Center of Forensic Excellence and Western State Hospital Print Shop and Publications in Windermere, Central Sound.
All right, so as we leave here today, just know that we're leaving we honor the past 126 years, and we recommit ourselves to carrying that legacy forward. We hope you leave this place inspired by the legacy of those who came before us and encouraged by the ongoing efforts and the work that's still ahead. Juneteenth is not just about one day of celebration. It's about what we protect, what we build, and what we pass forward. We honor the shoulders we stand on. We claim our place in the present, and together we commit to shaping the present and the future.
So yes, we're coming to a close, but I always like to try to finish on a personal note before I go to the script. I want to leave you with a few things. One, what a great program. No time. All right, and the second thing is this. I look around this room, I see a few things. I see commitment, resilience, and conquerors. I'm not going to go through the details on why, but that's just what I see. So, with that being said, just know that you're enough. No matter what mountain that you face, you're more than capable of climbing that mountain. So, remember that you matter. Remember that we all matter. So stay motivated, stay encouraged, and remember that the fight is still here, but it's ours for the taking. So thank you, everybody, for being here, and I'll go to the script so we can finish and enjoy the rest of this Juneteenth celebration. So, with that being said, we invite everyone to join us outside as we raise the Juneteenth flag, thanks are raised, and take a group photo. After that, please stay and visit the information tables, capture memories at the 360 photo booth, and enjoy one another, and continue to celebrate our Juneteenth celebration. Thanks for being here once again. Be blessed, and I see, here's another thing. Oh, is that part of this shift?
We had a little change in plans. Our plan was to raise the Juneteenth flag as we did last year, but we got here this morning, and now L&I has a Juneteenth flag. So, so hey, progress is being made, right? So, with that being said, we were gonna raise the flag and have Karina sing a song outside. But since the flag is already up, and since you're all sitting here comfortably, I would like Karina to come back up and lead us out with one more selection.
Wow, so we got a flag. We got a flag that's already up. That's awesome. That is amazing progress. Glory, glory. So as we go forward, I'm just going to close out with a song that's called Come Alive. And it speaks to dry bones, dry areas in our life. We want to speak life into those areas. We want to call those things that aren't as though they are. So we want to speak life into families. We want to speak life into communities. We want to speak life into churches. We want to speak life into government. We want to speak life into friends, to family, to jobs, to situations. We want to speak life. So I'm going to go forward and sing that, and I hope that you enjoy it and that you can speak to areas in your life that may be dry and ask them to come alive. Amen? Amen. Through the eyes of men we've seen there's so much we have lost. As we look down the road where all the prodigals have walked, and one by one the enemy has whispered lies and led them off as slaves. Oh yes, but we know that you are God and yours is the victory. And we know there is more to come that we may not yet see. So with the faith you've given us, we step into the valley unafraid. Yeah. we call out to dry bones, come alive, come alive. As we call out to dead hearts, come alive, come alive. And up out of the ashes, let us see an army rise. As we call out to dry bones, come alive. So God of endless mercy, God of unrelenting love, oh, rescue every daughter and bring us back the wayward sons. And by the Spirit breathe upon them, show the world that you alone can save. You alone can save. As we call out to dry bones, come alive, come alive. As we call out to dead hearts, come alive, come alive. And up out of the ashes, let us see an army rise. As we call out to dry bones, come alive. So breathe the breath of God, now breathe the breath of God. Breathe the breath of God, now breathe. Oh, breathe the breath of God, now breathe the breath of God. Breathe the breath of God, now breathe. Oh, breathe the breath of God. Breathe the breath of God. Breathe the breath of God, now breathe. As we call out to dry bones, come alive, come alive. As we call out to dead hearts, come alive, come alive. And up out of the ashes, let us see an army rise. As we call out to dry bones, come alive. As we call out to dry bones, come alive. Ooh, I said come alive, yes. Come on, come alive.
Thank you so much, Karina, for that wonderful selection. Well, that's the end of the program for today, folks. But like I said earlier, the 360 photo booth will be open until 4:30. I think there's still some people in the information room with some information that you can grab. Buffalo Soldiers and a few others and they're still in there. So I appreciate you all for coming out tonight. Be safe. Enjoy Juneteenth on the 19th. Please, as a shout out to Tacoma, Tacoma has the largest Juneteenth in the state of Washington. And please come down to the LeMay Car Museum for that Juneteenth celebration. It's a free celebration. Come on out and enjoy yourself. Good night, all.